if we have some more concerns and questions.
Council President, we're ready.
Are y'all ready? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome to the agenda conference Monday, September 21st, 2020. Members of the public may attend and participate only via live stream or phone. Pensacola, go to pensacola.com/428/live-meeting video. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Council President Canada Wynn,
Here.
Council Vice President Moore,
Here.
Councilmember Hill. Here. Councilmember Geralds,
Here.
Councilmember Myers, Councilmember Terhar, Councilmember Wu.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. When we look at presentation items, we will only have the one presentation today, item 20-0579. Item number 2 and item number 3 have been pulled and moved to October 5th. So item number 1 is 20-00579, presentation from Andrew Rothfeather with an update on the West Main Street project. Mr. Rothfeather.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to give you a quick update. Obviously, we've got a lot of bigger issues going on right now, so this should take no more than 5 minutes unless you have questions. And I do think, of course, this storm did give us an interesting glimpse into what the property around the Maritime Park, what happens to that area during a storm. And I think with these developments, it will give us an opportunity, and these developers working hand in hand with the city to make improvements to that area in such a way that I think hopefully we can improve on the way the stormwater works in those areas around Main Street in front of Maritime Park. So I think there is a real opportunity with this to, sometimes you get win-wins, and hopefully that can be the situation here. Just to give you a quick update, it's been about, I think, 6 weeks ago that we came to you and announced in the process that the 8-person panel that had been established had made its recommendations to the city for the developers to develop the remaining parcels at the Maritime Park. We announced those 3 developers to you, and if I'm going to try to share my screen just so it brings top of mind, hopefully this will work. Are you seeing my screen?
No.
We're just seeing you.
Okay, I'll get back to. Sorry, I'm trying to share the screen.
There we go.
Okay. So just a reminder of how this, which developers are which lots. So those are the 7 remaining lots. So one of the developers is for lot 7. That's the Valencia Hotel Group out of Houston to build an upper upscale hotel on lot 7. Lots 4 and 5 are for the group called Silver Hills and Edwards that have offices in Chicago and Columbus, Ohio, to build a mixed-use apartment building with a shared parking garage on lots 4 and 5. And the remaining 4 lots, which would be 6, 3, 8, and 9, to the group that's actually based in Pensacola, Inspired, the Dawson Company, and the Emmett Smith Company for those 4 parcels. Okay, am I back?
Yes.
Okay, so if you remember the way that, sorry, did you have a question? Oh. The way the process was designed is that this group would make recommendations of the groups with whom the city would enter exclusive negotiations for pre-development rights on those parcels. So that is the process that we are in right now, so we have no big news to this time, other than I've been working very closely with the mayor and city staff, city legal department, city finance department, other areas of the city to work on the two big items that need to be worked through with these three developers, which are the structure of how we will enter pre-development agreements with these three developers and the economic terms under which we will enter develop pre-development agreements with these three developers. So we've had a series of meetings. We continue to work on it. We've made a lot of progress, and the plan is by your next meeting in 2 weeks to come before you with written documentation with the terms of how we're going to handle this. So very positive, very excited about it. We're almost there in terms of this step, and I think the goal is to, within the next, say, 60 to 90 days, certainly by your November meeting, to come in front of you with all of the economic and business terms negotiated to let these three developers get started with their due diligence work and investment. So that's where we are. Again, we look forward to bringing you something in about 2 weeks. And then unless anybody has any questions, that's the update.
Okay. Any questions from anyone? Okay, no, thank you. Mr. Mayor, did you have, I need somebody, I can't get on, I can't join my meeting. It keeps talking about error getting profiles, so I can't see any requests right here.
Madam President,
Yes, Dr. Wu, and then we'll go to Doc.
I was just going to tell Mr. Rossvetter how exciting it is after all these years of finally getting to the point where we're ready to get the ball over the goal line.
Okay.
It's been a long process, but this is really in 2 weeks, it'll be a happy day to see it all start moving. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wu.
Support.
Mayor Robinson.
I simply was going to say, we had intended to bring this to you. This is kind of a victim of the hurricane. Once we got going last week, we could not bring it in and make it happen before this council meeting this week. So it will be here. You will see it in 2 weeks, and we will have that ready to go.
Okay, I'm excited. All right, thank you. Be safe.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else, Dr. Wu? You still got your hand up.
Oh, sorry, man.
You good?
Got to go to school and learn. I'm sorry.
Okay. So we're on item number 4. Item number 4 is 20-00415, awarded bid number 20-058, Alkanese Street outfall to Pensacola Bay Stormwater Treatment Enhancement Project. Recommendation, and this is all on consent agenda. Okay. Any questions? I do have one question. Because of the hurricane and its impact on our shores, is this project itself impacted at all?
Derek, I don't believe we're impacted in any way. I'm getting shaking heads no from the back of the audience that's dealing with this. This is not impacted.
Okay. All right, thank you. Item number 5, 20-00543, memorandum of agreement relating to solid waste services. Any question? Mr. Mayor, what services are we agreeing to with Escambia County?
And I was looking for Dick, or is Dick or y'all on there? This, I think, has to do with our neighborhood cleanups. But
it does, Mayor. This is a program that's been in existence, and this was 4 additional programs for the county pickups, and the county commission has approved this, and we're asking council to approve it. It will provide some funding for the additional pickups as a way of a credit of landfill fees to the city. So, Madam President, members of the City Council, and Mr. Mayor, that's what this interlocal provides.
Okay. Councilmember Hill,
I think that answered. I'm okay.
you okay? All right, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to number 6, is appointment of Escambia County Commissioner Lumen May to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. Item number 7, 20-00510, amendment to the Escambia, Pensacola FY 2020 through 2022 State Housing Initiative Partnership SHIP Program interlocal agreement with Escambia County. Item number 8, 20-00515, City of Pensacola Housing Department Public Housing Agency, PHA, Annual Plan FY 2020-2021 and 5-year PHA Plan FY 2021-2025. Item number 9, 20-00520, amendment to the City of Pensacola FY 2019-2020 Community Development Block Grant CDBG Annual Action Plan and FY 2015 through 2019 CDBG Consolidated Plan. Item number 10, 20-00518, fiscal year 2020-21 School Resource Officer Program Memorandum of Understanding MOU between the School Board of Escambia County, Florida and the City of Pensacola Department. Mr. Mayor, does this pay for 5 officers?
Keith, what do we have? What are we looking at?
I'll ask-
Housing.
Madam President, I'll ask if Chief Chrisman is on. I know Chief Leiter is off today.
Yes, Council President, case for the agreement to have 2 resource officers in each high school and 1 at the middle school. The other, the one at the elementary school, is funded in a separate way by the school district.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other question? Thank you so much. Item number 11 is 20-00580, Affordable Housing Task Force Final Report. And this is on our regular agenda. Mr. Craig, would they do a presentation Thursday?
They will.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That was exactly what I was hoping was going to happen as well, yeah.
Mhm.
I think this is important enough that we ought to have that.
Yeah, so they're going to do the presentation on Thursday.
Yes, ma'am. They'll be remoting in via Teams.
Okay.
And they'll do a presentation on Thursday.
All right, thank you, Mr. Craig. Item number 12 is 20-00587, extension of mayoral declaration of state of emergency. The recommendation is to approve the mayor's request for an extension of the declaration of emergency until the council meeting scheduled for October 22nd, 2020. And this is one of those 31 days also, Madam Attorney?
President, Council members, yes, it'll be, well, it won't be 31 days in essence, because the action won't take place until Thursday. So it'll be about a 26-day extension, but Thursday to the last city council meeting in October.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mayor?
Madam Chair, in advance of what's going on with COVID, I think this is important for us to continue to do, and it does allow for the next item that we're discussing. If the declaration goes away altogether, there's no opportunity for us to do the mask mandate. But at this time, I fully believe we'll come and we'll talk the next one, but I'm trying to communicate that we want to keep the first item there, so in the event something does change or something does go different, we can move and implement the tools that we have at our disposal, which would be included the mandatory mask requirement ordinance. So again, I think one way or the other, we need to do the extension for a month, and I think that's the right thing for us to do, to stay in lockstep with the state of Florida and with other entities as we continue to deal with COVID.
Councilmember Hill?
The one feedback I am getting is people are, I guess, frustrated they can't come to council and address their government. Is there any way?
That does not, this does not impact that. If we are still in a state of emergency, that change will happen. The governor would have to give a directive which expires, I'm looking to the attorney, right now, the state of emergency doesn't really have to do, other than the fact, I guess, if we did in the state of emergency, it would change that. But we can make that decision ourselves, or if the governor does not allow for us to do that anymore, that could also change come the end of this month. But that would happen. And then if the governor did allow it, it would come back to the council here as the decision, what you all make as a council.
So what he allows, are you saying public input?
The governor, the only way we can meet as we're meeting right now related to the sunshine is an exemption that has been provided by the governor. Not only has he provided that, his staff, at least back in May, was very adamant that we take advantage of that because he didn't want governmental meetings being the source of COVID distribution. So we have done that. Other local governments have not done it, but we have honored what the governor asked. So we've done that. We'd have to get his approval first, and I believe the city attorney can explain that. But if he doesn't extend that, then we don't have the ability to extend it. But you're right. If he extends it, then it is a choice up to this board. It is, and that's not the mayor's decision. That will be you as it's actually the president's. But y'all working together as a council and the council president making those decisions.
We will discuss that at a separate. Because Mr. Curry and I have already talked about it. We talked about it before Sally came. So we have an option, and so we will bring that option to the council.
At the next, when would that happen?
We'll probably do it before the October. So we will know by the October council meeting. Yes,
Okay.
It'll be before that.
People are missing coming in and talking to us.
Yes, so we will. And even though this is not a part of it, we have had more public input by phone
Exactly.
than sometimes we have with people coming in person.
Maybe we need to rethink that,
And
maybe
so-
a combination of,
Of that. So we're going to bring something that follows the CDC guidelines. Mr. Courier and I have been talking about it, and he's been talking about it with our attorney. So there are options out there, and so there will be something before October, our October meeting.
good, thank you.
Okay? Item number 13 is 20-00589, repeal of ordinance number 36-20, requiring a mandatory wearing of face covering in businesses within the city limits. Unless there are particular questions, I don't want to discuss the merits of it tonight because we are going to discuss the merits of it. However, if there are some concerns about continuing the mask ordinance or anything, we may want to give a heads up to our city attorney. Madam Attorney?
Thank you, Council President and council members. Just to remind you the way this is currently set up, we've got the state of emergency for the coronavirus, and the mask wearing ordinance that's in place that was passed by council currently sunsets when the state of emergency sunsets. So if the state of emergency is extended, then the mask wearing ordinance likewise would be extended unless council took a different action. So the council can decide whether to extend the mask wearing ordinance or to end it even though a state of emergency continues. It's up to council, but that's the decision that you'll be making on Thursday. And that's with an assumption that you're extending the state of emergency. Likewise, if you end the state of emergency on Thursday, then the mask wearing ordinance also would terminate unless separate action is taken to extend it. So the two right now are tied together, but they can be unhitched and can go forward or stop depending on how council wants to approach it.
So you want to discuss if we feel that we don't want it terminated?
Okay, from my understanding, item 13 unhitches the item 12. It allows for the state of emergency if we supported it, and then item 13 comes back and repeals that portion of it that requires the mask. Madam Attorney, is that correct?
Right, if you can extend the state of emergency. What's been requested, let me start there. What's been requested by the mayor is to extend the state of emergency past September 24th and continue it to October 22nd. He's also requested in item number 13 to end the mask wearing ordinance, the mandatory mask wearing ordinance on September 24th. So if you took the action that's been recommended or requested by the mayor, the state of emergency would continue to October 22nd. The mandatory mask wearing ordinance would end on September 24th. Now, you can do something different. That's what's been requested. You can extend the state of emergency as well as extend the mandatory mask wearing ordinance if council chooses to do such. They are currently tied together, but they don't have to be.
Okay, Ms. Hill, did that
Well,
answer your question?
The reactions I've gotten today have supported continuing the mandate. So I would be, I'd like to see us extend the emergency and keep the mask mandate. So I don't know.
So I would get with Mr. Courier and get with the city attorney so that we would be prepared for anything on Thursday.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
All right, now, Mr.
I simply want to, for figures and just update, I want everybody to realize, today we sit at 52. We were at 50 hospitalizations yesterday, 52 today. When I instituted before it became to the council, we were at 44. By the time the council had taken the vote, we were already over 50 hospitalizations. Again, I think the reason I've asked that you continue the state of emergency is it does provide the flexibility to bring back the mandatory at any time. But I think we have to be able to fluctuate with where our numbers are, and I think we can discuss as we go forward. But I want you to understand where the numbers are and where the numbers were when we first instituted.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else that have a comment, and we can flesh it out on Thursday.
Oh, and lastly, the practice of masking, we will continue the practice of masking at City Hall and at city buildings. And if we allow people in, they will be required to wear masks.
Item number 14 is 20-00530, interlocal agreement between the City of Pensacola, Florida, and the Pensacola Downtown Improvement Board for equal share costs of cleaning services within the DIB district provided by Street Plus Company. Yeah, I have a question, is why we sharing any cost? We have street cleaners and they can go sweep. Why are we sharing any cost at all? And how much does that cost?
Kara, if you're looking to speak to this,
I think Gareth, or
Good afternoon, Council President. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, why are we sharing any cost? Is this not a function of the DIB itself? That's why it has its millage rate, that's why it's habit, that's why we give them almost all of their TIF dollars back to them. And so why are we still sharing this cost?
My understanding, and Helen's not here, but my understanding is this is per their agreement, and this is how we've done it in the past. We can always revisit this to see if we can remove those duties, but since I've come on board, this was something that we've always done, but we can always try to revisit this.
Just so they have an answer on Thursday. See
Okay.
if it's, get an answer on Thursday. If not, I would like to revisit it, to find out why we doing those calls.
Okay.
I will say, when we were negotiating the parking, we did agree that we would continue to store the bollards. And that was under that kind of agreement, just in helping, because they'd always used parking to support that. They have their events. From a safety standpoint, the bollards are important. We need to be able to utilize them. I understand they no longer have that revenue. I mean, it's important for us for the amenity. So I can't imagine this is a terribly expensive cost. And I simply indicated as we took it that we would find a way to deal with the bollards, because safety is the most important part of anything, is that if we have something downtown, we want to make sure we have the capacity to use those bollards. And they had always used it with their parking revenue, so I don't want to penalize them for that. And I did tell them in that negotiation that we would look at the bollards. Now, I don't know what the other part of the trash compactor, but I do know with the bollards, we did tell them. I mean, I can't imagine that's going to be a substantial amount of money. That's significant.
Okay. All right, you just have the answers for us on Thursday.
We will.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 15 is 20-00572, Parking Management, approval of a lease agreement between the City of Pensacola and the Downtown Improvement Board. And the recommendation is that the City Council authorize the mayor to execute a lease agreement with the Downtown Improvement Board, DIB, for space located at the Jefferson Street Parking Garage property for a trash compactor and stored bollards, both owned and operated by the DIB. Further, that the City Council authorize the mayor to take all actions necessary relating to execution of the lease agreement.
Madam President, I apparently jumped to one, and I'm sorry. This is the one that we kind of had made the agreement with them that we would do. I apologize. We will get the answer on the first one, but I thought we were on this one.
Okay, all right. Item number 16 is 20-00550, Pensacola Fire Department, Federal Emergency Management Agency FEMA grant, number EMW-201-FZ-10291, Assistant to Firefighters Grant, FY 2019. And here's the recommendation that council authorize the mayor to accept the Federal Emergency Management Agency FEMA grant, number EMW-201-FZ-10291, in the total amount of $619,115.84, comprised of $562,832.58 in FEMA funds and $56,281.26 Pensacola Fire Department match. Further, that the City Council authorize the mayor to take all actions necessary for the acceptance of the grant. Finally, the City Council adopt a supplemental budget resolution appropriating the grant funds. Now, these FEMA dollars are just for a special grant dollar money for the fire department. Because normally when you see FEMA, you think of disaster type.
Right. No, ma'am, this is not associated with Hurricane Sally. Chief Craner can go into more detail with that.
Chief Craner?
Council President, this is a FEMA grant that was awarded. We were in anticipation, we planned for the match in the fiscal year 21 budget in anticipation of hopefully being awarded this grant. So this grant is a separate grant from COVID-19 or Hurricane Sally. This is to replace our breathing air fleet at all of our fire stations on all of our trucks.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Chief. Item number 17 is 20-20-47, Supplemental Budget Resolution 2020-47, Pensacola Fire Department, Federal Emergency Management Agency FEMA grant number EMW-2019-FG-10291, Assistant to Fire Department grant, Fiscal 2019. The recommendation of the City Council adopts supplemental budget resolution. Any questions? Item number 18. For item number 18 is I'm gonna make sure I don't miss my amendment here, okay. 40-20, proposed ordinance number 40-20, proposed amendments to chapter 11-2 of the code pertaining to the regulation and management of parking activities and the designation of the code enforcement special magistrate to hear and determine objections to fines within the geographical boundaries of the city of Pensacola, and that recommendation was that the city council adopt proposed ordinance number 40-20 on second reading. Any other questions on that? Item number 19, 41-20, proposed ordinance number 41-20, amendment to the city code section 4-3-97, sanitation equipment surcharge. Recommendation, the city council adopt proposed ordinance 41-20 on second reading. Any questions? Item number 20 is 42-20, proposed ordinance number 42-20, adopting and enacting a new code for the city of Pensacola. We have a updated, Madam Attorney.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, council and council members. As I had previously indicated at one of our last meetings, I honestly cannot recall which one that was at now. When we spoke with MuniCode, who publishes the code concerning the recodification effort and what we were finishing here, it was explained to us that they needed more time in order to do their work after the recodified code is adopted. And so after communications with them, it's been determined that our recodified code will be available from MuniCode, ready to be published December 31st, 2020. So the date changes that are in here are indicating that the recodified code will include all of the code additions and revisions that were adopted through the August 13th, 2020 meeting. And then there's going to be a gap of what gets adopted between August 13th, 2020 and December 31st, 2020. So the recodified code that goes into effect December 31st, 2020 will include everything through August 13th, and anything that gets adopted in that gap from August 13th through December 31st will then be part of the first supplement that will come out after the recodified code comes out. As I explained previously, the code is dynamic, it's constantly moving and changing, and so we just have to put a hard date on everything that's going to be included in the recodified code and capture everything in that gap period at a later time. So it's not that anything that you're doing now is going to go away or anything of that nature. It will be captured. It's just not going to be captured in the big publication that'll come out December 31st. It'll be captured in the first supplement thereafter. I hope I'm making sense what I'm trying to describe.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
I just don't.
Yes,
So
Councilmember Hill.
if we pass something, you know, sometimes we say becomes law 5 days after adoption. It'll still become
Yes.
law, but it won't be reflected in the big book.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, that ends the agenda conference with that item. I don't have anything for discussions. I do not have any add-ons. Madam Clerk, could you read the agenda items, please?
Consent agenda items are 4 through 10. Items for the regular agenda are items 11 through 20.
Okay, thank you. Communications, City Administrator.
Yes, Madam President, Council, just sitting here thinking of what to communicate to you. I just have to commend our city staff. They've been through so much this last year, from my day one, but actually with this event, you just really see what our city staff is made of and what the term public servant really means. We've had staff saving citizens' lives. we've had staff blown to the ground and crawling back into City Hall to help try to protect the building and prevent damage to the building. It's just incredible. And public safety, police, and fire. When I asked Chief Craner, I said, well, how many crises can we handle at once? And she said, all of them, because it's our job. And that's just the reflection of all of our staff, and I just want to publicly commend them for the job they're doing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President, I would just like to add, I couldn't agree more. They have really shown in a time of crisis. You certainly see a lot of the things that we had a chance to highlight some things if you've seen our social media about the fire and police that they've done. But I agree, it's every bit as valuable what Derek and his team have been out there doing. They took down to make sure that they got out and pumped down water on all the pumps because we were having the challenges that we had with flooding, with any rain coming again. So everybody's been working hard to get us to this point. Everybody's been willing to do things. I know seeing Kimmy here, I know she and Casey have been up there at Keith and I finally had to tell Casey not to show up at the EOC for a day to have a day off. It's been amazing to see what people have done and continue to do, and certainly Chief Craner and her team at Fire, I've gone by and seen several times at Fire Administration. They have really shined. As somebody said to me, usually, there's times where the private sector looks good and public sometimes doesn't, but this one, between Skanska and some other things, the private sector hasn't looked real good, but I think the public sector has showed emergencies are what we do best, and we show up and we take care of people, and this is why it's so important what we do at the city of Pensacola.
Thank you.
Madam President, I'm sorry to add, but when you start mentioning people and specifics, you're always at risk of leaving someone out or a lot of people out. I do want to especially also commend our inspections department for the damage assessments that they quickly got done, and then also our parks department, because so much fell on them, not just removing trees, but where can we house these Red Cross workers, and how can we do that, and putting them into community centers or other volunteer groups into community centers. And every time you ask a question, the answer is yes, we'll get it done. It's not to jump at how high do I need to jump. And so again, just commend all of them.
Or to call Brian Cooper and Ginny and say, hey, we need you to do a feeding kitchen right now at Woodland Heights. They've done that. They've done everything we've asked them.
Okay. Council, any council communications? I know, Mr. Jarrett, you had started talking about something, and so we want to give you an opportunity to bring that forward.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll just reiterate what I was stating earlier, that one of the things I did not mention is the fact that the pole has snapped, and yet it's resting on the bottom, but it's leaning toward the west. And it's obscured by some trees that it's leaning on the branches. So I just wanted to pass that information on so that someone can take a look at that situation immediately and take action before it falls into the traffic by the light wind. But I think everyone understands that it's in the southbound lane on 9th Avenue, just before you get to the intersection of Scott and 9th Avenue. So if we can put the state people on that, or Gulf Power, whoever will be responsible, so they might be able to take action before we have a disaster. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Didn't mean to overlook you, Madam Attorney. Go ahead.
That's all right. Thank you, Council President, council members. I just wanted to quickly let you know, due to a prior conflict that was scheduled long before Hurricane Sally, I will not be able to attend the meeting Wednesday night or Thursday night. Rusty Wells will be sitting in for me, and he will be ready and able.
All right, thank you. Any more council communication? Yes, Councilmember Hill.
I just want to thank all my neighbors for helping me get out of my backyard so I could come to meetings, and they've just been so kind and knocking on doors and making sure everybody's safe, and I know that's been happening all over the city. So we've got some great residents, and I just wanted to cheer them this evening.
Yeah, we have some phenomenal people that live in the city of Pensacola. Dr. Wu, I say, did you have any comment?
Oh, no, just everybody stay safe.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other comments, the. Yes.
Madam President, I did want to make one announcement here. If there's anybody out there watching that wants to know, I just saw the CPAC has been canceled, so they will meet on October 6th at 5:30, which is a regular meeting, but they've gone ahead and canceled for this week, obviously, because of what ended up happening with the damage. I just saw that text come across, and so I wanted to communicate that as well.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other comment, the agenda conference is over. We're going to give them 5 minutes to get ready for our